Hi guys, it's Nancy, and we are going to do a little bit of experimenting today. I have the Serenade of Autumn watercolor resist paper, and you get 3 different designs, 2 of each sheet. They're 6 by 6. So this is a floral one, and I cut a little bit off, and we'll talk about why I did that in a second. Then this one is kind of like a swirl leaf pattern. And then we have this beautiful, fun butterfly pattern, okay? So, you guys know, foiling Empress, the first thing I did was I tried to foil it. And I'm sorry to let you know, it doesn't foil, okay? But we're going to have some fun. I have a couple different methods I want to show you on how you can add color to these. And yeah, we'll just play around. So the first thing you can obviously do is any kind of ink blending. Here I have a Simon Hurley dye ink pad. This color is called No Diving. And I'm just going to go in with my blending brush. And I'm just going to ink blend over it. And that's probably the easiest, least messiest way to do it. It's basically clear heat embossed, so you don't have to worry about doing that. If you don't have a heat gun or clear embossing powder, or you don't want to make a mess, you just do your ink blending right on top of it. Super easy to do, okay? The next thing you could do is you could watercolor it, right? So it is called watercolor resist. And so a couple ways you can do that. I have a little box here with some paper towels in the bottom. And I'm going to grab this the butterfly pattern one. Okay. And I'm going to lightly mist it with some water. If my mister would cooperate. Or you could use a brush, but I'm going to do just kind of fun abstract here. Colors. What is going on here? Okay. And I am going to use, in case you were not aware, Spellbinders now carries color sparks. Okay. So I'm going to grab a couple different colors of color sparks. Grab some fun bright colors here. Purple. Do I have a pink or blue? Come on now. I think there are 3 or 4 in a pack. And there's 3 or 4 packs. So there's 12 to 16 colors. Oh, here they are. Here they are. So these you can now pick up at Spellbinders. Color Sparks are highly concentrated watercolor powders. So Berry Punch has these 3 colors. Sunsplash has these 3 colors. Desert Ranch, Alpine, Poolside, and Grassland. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, 3 in each, so 18 colors, right? All right, so let's grab some fun colors here. I have Orchid. I want to grab Gamboge and Cerulean. Okay, so I'm going to start with Gamboge, which is, and you can see that water sitting on top of there, and that paper is still wet. And this is you can tell it's a pretty heavy duty paper. So this is Gamboge, and it's a powder pigment. So all you're going to do is just very gently tap, and it's going to stick to wherever the water is, and the water is going to spread that out. Now you can spread that out by spraying it, which is what we're going to do, or you can spread it out by paintbrush. You could be more precise and color this in with a paintbrush if you wanted to, but I find this is very fun if you are just loose and freeing with it and just having a good time. And fuchsia. And a little tap, that's all you need. A little bit goes a long way. All right, let me move this into camera view a little bit better for you guys, okay? So I could take my brush and brush it. I'm going to put a little bit more water in here. Hold on a second. Okay, I put a little bit more water in my sprayer, so hopefully it sprays better. And watch as I spray it, how all that color moves around. And you can heat set it to set it into place. You can take your brush or paper towel to blot it. I am going to take a paper towel and blot it a little bit. But just give it a second and you can see how those colors move around, they play. It's really fun. And then when you're done, you're going to have all this beautiful butterflies that are left behind. They'll resist. So obviously if you wanted it darker, you can add a little bit more color. I'm going to add a little bit more of the fuchsia where I think it's a little light. Again, just spray it. Let that move around a little bit. And then just set that off to dry, or you could lightly do your heat tool. But look how pretty that is. So it just went from plain white to beautiful colors using color sparks. And again, these are all at Spellbinders now. Okay. So we did ink blending. We did color sparks. Another way you could do this, let me move my little wet box out of the way here. Is coloring. Okay, so what I mean by coloring is another new thing over at Spellbinders they are now carrying the Corrine markers. So you can get a full set of Corrine markers, or you can get smaller sets of Corrine markers, but you can certainly go in with the marker and color your paper. And these are water-based markers. They're not alcohol-based markers. And then you're just going to take wet paintbrush or watercolor brush, okay, and then just drag that color. So you can color this and you can do your own kind of watercoloring with it if you want it to be more precise. You can see how easily those markers activate with water. And you can add more color, more depth. The other thing you can do is scribble on a silicone mat or a glass mat like I've done there. And you can get more concentration of color on your brush then. And then you don't have so much of a harsh line. So that's another way you could use these markers. These markers are dye-based markers, so they are water activated. So that's another way you could color this. Again, dabbing it off. If you want more color, add more color. If you want more lighter, add more water. Okay. And then another way that I think a lot of people forget about, of course, you can use regular watercolors. If you have watercolor paints, certainly have at it. There are a couple of watercolor palettes in the Spellbinders store that you can go check out. They have a couple different brands, a couple different palettes. But another way is using your reinkers. So I have my Better Press reinkers here. This is Wildberry, French Blue, and Tuscan. Okay, and I'm going to do kind of the same thing. Is I'm just going to use these as my ink. I'm going to put a little dab of each color. Let's just do a couple drops. But you can use any dye-based ink. So if you have Simon Hurley inks, whatever you have, use your reinkers. And I just did 2 of each drop. 2 of each color, 2 drops of each color. Same thing, I'm just going to go in with a wet brush. Kind of water that down a little bit. Now these inks are a little more viscous. That might not work so well. That's a little heavy. It still works, but you can see how thick and viscous that ink is. I never tried this with Better Press inks, so maybe we should grab regular dye-based inks. Okay, we're not going to use Better Press reinkers on this. This ink is formulated to be a little stickier so that it works on the Better Press plates, and I can tell it is sticky. Okay, let me grab some other reinkers here. Let me just dab this up. This is why we do experiments, so we can learn together. I mean, it still looks cool, but it's not the look I was going for. Hold on. Hold, please. Okay, let's try that again. I grabbed my Simon Hurley reinkers this time. So I have Prom Queen. These are kind of thick too. Shooting Star. They're not as thick as the Better Press inks. And this looks like somebody was leaking on it. Gonna have to check that out. Oh yeah, we got a leaker. This one is No Diving. Okay, let's see if this works out better. And paper towel. There we go. That's what we want. We want it to be a watered down wash of color. Much prettier. Look how easy that is. That was Prom Queen. This is Shooting Star. You can see how it blends. And then the last one is No Diving. And if it's a little too dark, add more water to it. And I can blend into the next color. Can add some more to this to make it darker. Can add water to make it lighter. And there we go. And that's just using reinkers that you probably already have. Don't use archival inkers or Better Press reinkers. Or stays on reinkers. Use a water-based reinker. So there you can see a couple of different ways you can use these watercolor resist papers. Again, the first way I used it was just regular ink blending. And then we did the TCW Color Sparks, which is always my favorite way, just to, because you never know how it's going to turn out. No two are alike. They're going to be beautiful. And then we have using markers and just paintbrushing your markers on, or your watercolors if you have those. And last but not least is just using your reinkers. So let me know, out of these techniques, which one are you willing to try out? The papers, again, are called the Autumn Serenade Watercolor Resist papers. And you get 6, 2 of each design. And the only one I didn't do was this kind of leafy, it's kind of a swirl pattern leafy one. All right. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you had fun watching me make a mess, give me a thumbs up before you leave. Thanks for watching. If you want to do shopping, I'll have the links down below for you. Bye-bye.